So good evening. Let me start by saying good evening, dear Pastor Dr. Siju and Pastor Idowu Iliomade, the organizers, the originators, the initiators of Connectnow. Honestly, they are our mother and father in the Lord, in the city of David, parish of RCCG, Redeemed Christian Church of God. I want to say good evening to all our pastors in the house and the faculty of Connectnow. And of course, I want to say a very good evening to all you distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, it gives my husband and my darling hubby, sweetheart, sugar, and myself great pleasure to be here. And honestly, to be a part of this Connectnow initiative. We're so happy to see that this online couples dating platform has really reached leaps and bounds. There have been so many success stories, so many marriages already, and so many marriages to come, even in this year, 2023 and beyond. And we want to say, we pray that indeed your own turn is coming, and it's coming very soon. And by the grace of Almighty God, you will also have a bountiful testimony to give by the grace of Almighty God. All right, so what we're going to actually do, I'm going to share some slides with you. It's going to be very practical. This is not about writing and writing, okay, because this is a very important element of marriage. A lot of people look at it and think, what's this all about? You're trying to teach us to be what we are not. You'll be amazed about how the power of etiquette can really transform you personally, professionally, and in your marriage as a whole. I'm going to say that. Okay, and so what's going to happen is that I will speak to certain things. My darling sweetheart here will say one or two things as it affected us or even him in our own marriage. Okay, and so I'll tell you our story as we go along. I hope that's okay for everyone. So listen, it's very practical.
Just forgive us that we're young in marriage. We're only 32 now, 33.
I'm going to say all of that in a moment.
That's all a PhD marriage.
I'm going to say all of that. All right, so let me share my screen in just a moment. One moment, please. Okay. I want to screen. Okay, excellent.
Fantastic. We can see it, man.
You can see it. Okay, excellent. So I've titled this The Etiquette Advantage Before and During Marriage. So I've got to know the time so that I know I'm on track.
No, let me do the time.
You're okay with that?
Yes,
I'm okay. All right. Okay, good. So here we are. The etiquette advantage, okay? And I really want to welcome everyone once again to today's session on the etiquette advantage in a marriage, okay? Let me first start by saying that marriage is the beginning of a new life, and we all know it, especially if you have been so used to doing things, your way, having things done, how you like to do things, making your own personal decisions. You see, when you take that decision to live a life with somebody for the rest of your life, this is a totally new life. Some things have got to give, and it's not easy. Some things do need to give, and you need to really adapt to each other. As it is, it's a journey. As you can see, this road, and it may not always be smooth along that road. There may be some bumps, there may be some turns, but you've got to make it work, okay? It's not always going to be your way, but I'm saying now you need to steer your marital journey God's way and steer it so that when it is rearing off, you bring it back to order. And I'm talking about by way of knowing how to pray together, learning how to understand each other, learning how to, yes, you can agree to disagree. And who says there's no arguments in marriage? Of course, it teaches you new things, but you must come out of that situation having learned something new by the grace of Almighty God and moving on from there on. I must say, marriage is sweet if you want it to be. All right. It's about you. It's about your personality. It's about your attitude. It's about a whole lot of things. Why are you together in the first place? I'm going to go through this and show you and teach you some secrets that have helped my sweet hubby and I get along with life. So yes, as you can see, we have been married for 34 years. We've known each other for 37 years. People say, huh? You look so young. Did your hubby snatch you from the cradle? Well, you know, age is in the mind. We have adult children, and people can't believe it. Alongside my 2 daughters, I look like their sister. Alongside my son, too, if you're not too careful, I could look like, you know what I mean? So the truth of the matter,
I'm getting jealous.
the truth of the matter is that you know, age is in the mind. You make your marriage work the way you want it to work. Of course, we're learning from each other each and every day. Even after 34 years, we are still learning from each other. And that is where etiquette comes into play. Guidelines to help you develop yourself personally, develop yourself professionally, develop yourself within your community. And those are things I'm going to share with you today so that you can use them to your advantage, not just hear them and let them go out of the window. It is extremely important. Marriage is a godly, divine, anointed thing to go into. It's a blessing for you. It's a blessing for your partner. It's a blessing for the family that you're procreating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blessing to the community and to the world as a whole. All right. And it's about what do you want to give back, even as a couple together in society. What do you want to leave behind? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Okay. So you know, when you think about it in marriage, do things together, not in secret, and you will enjoy each other. I want to tell you one quick thing. There are a lot of young couples now, they say they are jackpine. They are leaving the country. They're going as a family, beautiful opportunity, carrying their children, or yet maybe they don't have children yet, and they're going abroad. Those that are surviving abroad is because man and wife, they're doing it together. They're making it work together. Those that think the floor is laced with gold and they're doing it by themselves, they're having so much difficulty telling you that all the money they earn is on rent and all of that. If you don't, you know, God has said that we are one, that, you know, God has put it in such a way that a man leaves his home, his mother and father's home, as they say in Genesis 2:24. You leave your home, your mother and father's house, you cleave to your wife and you become one. That indeed is what marriage is all about. And that is what etiquette helps you to achieve. I want you to look at this for a moment. Circle of influence. In your spare time, you take a pen and paper. You will draw this circle, divide it into 4. And when you divide it into 4, each quadrant, once again, divide into 3. This is called your circle of influence, or what we call your wheel of life. And this is where in marriage, decide what you want before you go into marriage. The first quadrant is your F quadrant. It's about your family. It's about your friends. It's about your finances. Score yourself over 10. What do you want for your marriage before you even get into it? The second quadrant is your H quadrant. It is about your home environment. It's about your health. It's about your happiness. Score each quadrant over 10. What do you want for your own marriage? The third quadrant is your C quadrant. It's about your career and your business. It's about your confidence level, and it's about your class. Score yourself over 10. What do you want before you even venture into marriage? And the final quadrant is your S quadrant, the one that speaks to your spirituality, service to community, and your social interactions with in and around about you at work, officially, and even in your personal life. Again, score yourself over 10. What exactly do you want in your marriage? Why am I saying circle of influence? Because it's important. You speak about your wheel of life. You have to learn about each other. You have to learn from each other. You have to learn how to pray together. You have to learn how to resolve issues together. You have to learn how to move on. So before you get into marriage, how many kids do you want? Which environment do you want to live in? What kind of schools do you want your children to go to? What kind of career do you want as a woman? What kind of a career do you want as a man? Don't just go into it and say, but I want 4 kids. No. I've always wanted just 2 kids. 2 kids is enough for me. So we always say, have that conversation before you get into it. And how are you going to have that conversation? Listen very carefully tonight about how you can really make this an advantage to you using etiquette, all right? It's about being self-aware. Remember, you get into marriage, you're not marrying just your spouse, you are marrying your in-laws as well. So you need to learn a whole lot about each other's lives and how to move on. So let's get right to it. People hear this beautiful word etiquette. Some people say etiquette. Some people say etique. It's really funny, but it's a funny word. It's a bourgeoisie word. But guess what? It is indeed the small detail that make the big impact. If I have to define it for your sake, I will say etiquette is a set of rules and guidelines that make your personal and your professional relationships more harmonious, more productive, more manageable, and definitely more meaningful. Well, guess what? Etiquette is not putting on airs and trying to be who you're not. Etiquette is not being artificial. Etiquette is not being better than anyone else. Etiquette is not only for the upper class, etiquette is for everyone. Etiquette is not just for the social climbers. It's for you, I, and the whole world. And it is certainly not cast in concrete. But indeed, etiquette is influenced by culture. It is influenced by religion. It is influenced by your social grouping. So how we do it in our church is different from how you may do it in your church. How we do it in our alumni may be different from how you do it in your alumni. What we do in our family may be different from your family, but they're guidelines, rules and regulations. But guess what? If you don't remember anything, remember that etiquette is a skill. It is practical. It is powerful. And it is profitable. All right? Are we all together? Okay. Now you ask, so what has etiquette got to do with marriage? Well, I can tell you for free. It will certainly help you build solid relationships between you and your spouse and your in-laws and the community at large. It will help you create more connections because you feel more confident to speak to people around you. It will give you a great reputation and that way increase your net worth. Okay, when people see you, you're the owner of your business, you're the CEO of your business or the CEO of your organization, because of your mannerisms, you will increase your net worth. It will help you interact more effectively among people, not you sit in one corner and you're an introvert and you don't speak. Some men complain about their wives when they take them out, they don't say anything, they just sit in one corner. This is very important. You need to be able to build and develop yourself. It will help you when you get into awkward situations. So you're with your in-laws and you're not too sure how they do it in this culture, and it will teach you certain mannerisms. You can protect your reputation as well, and it will make you more visible and, of course, more credible. All right. And indeed, as we have it here, go and look up Mark 10:9. Very important. This is an element for you to work on. Now, I must say, why etiquette in marriage again? What are the ethical words that come to your mind when you think of the word etiquette? It is so important in marriage because of kindness. You can't get through marriage without being kind to each other. You can't get through marriage without being considerate, without being respectful, without having some level of empathy, without having emotional intelligence, without having manners, simple manners. Not like, you have to say, excuse me there, can I not shift? I beg move. No. You have to have some social graces, you have to have some social, very important because your in-laws are watching you, man and woman alike. So even you as a man, they are sizing you up. You as a woman, everyone is sizing you up. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, everybody's sizing you up. So you do need to have social graces. It makes a lot. And what they remember, first impressions go a long way. And they will always remember the first day they met you. Yes, very important. You can't be all tattered and loud and lousy. No. All right? But this is it. Everybody has a choice in marriage. It depends very much on your thoughts, your beliefs, your perspectives, your experience in life. They say knowledge is power, or is it? I say knowledge is power, depending on how you use that knowledge. All right? So, how to use the etiquette advantage. This is the knowledge. We're hoping that at the end of today, you'll be able to put it into practical use. So I'm going to share with you 7 etiquette pillars. Okay? So these 7 etiquette pillars will help you drive a successful marriage, will help you to woo the right partner, will help you to leave a great legacy, even for your children, children to come, and your family. And so this is where my darling hubby will soon step in as well. So etiquette pillars. Let's start off with pillar number 1. It's about your purpose. Now, when the Bible says in Proverbs 19:21, many are the plans in a man's heart, but the purpose of the Lord will prevail. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope." Or in another Bible it said to give you an expected end. And I mentioned in Genesis 2:24 about how you leave your mother and father's house, cleave to your wife, and become one. So when you go into marriage, purpose, it's really about your goal. It's about how assertive you are. The first pillar is you can't even have manners, kindness, and respect for your marriage if you don't even know what you're getting into. You must know before you get into marriage, even before you even choose the wife or the spouse or the husband that you really want to spend the rest of your life with, what are your goals? Gentlemen, I say you need to be very assertive. You need to be focused, driven, and forward thinking. You need to be the head of the home that the Bible and God Almighty has placed and positioned you to be. All right. So, gentlemen, you are the head. We women, we will follow you. But we like to follow a man who has initiative, who has ideas, who have goals, who has a purpose. So it's important in having a purpose, though, you got to learn to plan together. You've got to need to plan for the children, plan your home environment, plan school, plan the community, plan career, all right? Set the pace, all right? And agree on what you want as a couple. But I want to say this though, men, God has given women what we call a sixth sense. So in as much as we know that you have great ideas and we will follow you, always, be vulnerable enough to say, let me listen to what my wife or spouse has to say about this. Because 2 heads will always, always, always be better than 1, okay? And so therefore, sometimes a lot of men feel like, I've got it all sorted. Don't worry, I'm done. We're going to be fine. And then the woman thinks, I'm not too sure about that. Gentlemen, please be open to what your wife or your spouse to be has to say. Many a times too, there's situations where things go wrong and it's like would have, could have, should have, but did not listen to her. In the same light as well, please, gentlemen, share. A lot of men feel, especially when you are having problems or issues, I want to say you may have a purpose in mind and things go wrong or go pear-shaped. Do not be afraid to share with your spouse, because guess what? We are there to pray for you. We are there to pray together. There's nothing that prayer cannot do. A lot of gentlemen who want to, I want to call it a little bit of a masculine ego. They will say they want to keep everything to themselves. And when things go wrong, they want to hide it. They say that they're protecting us. They don't want us to know. They don't want to scare us. But many a times when you share these situations and you put them into prayer, please be reminded prayer can do and turn around anything. So don't be afraid and don't keep your wife out. Let her be in the know. Let your spouse be in the know. So have that purpose. I want my sweetheart to share a few things just in about 30 seconds or in a minute when we were getting, starting off in marriage, what it was for him about purpose.
Thanks, Dr. J, my darling wife. I think that for the men listening to us on the call, particularly, it is true that our women, our wives, would always want us to provide some direction. You cannot, so with the backing of God, obviously, the God factor being there, but the reality is that you want to own your destiny. You want to shape what you want in your marriage. And so when we started 30-something years ago, even as young as I was at that time, I'm sure she can confirm that I was very clear that, we needed to really plan what we wanted out of the marriage. Perhaps that was influenced by my corporate background. I almost structured it like I was going into a corporate relationship, not exactly that way, but to make the point about the fact that I wasn't going to stumble into marriage. So it's very important that you plan what you want. Otherwise, circumstances around you will shape that for you anyway. Then the other thing that we do, up until the time of COVID-19, what we were doing almost every year was that beginning of the year, I would take the whole family out and we'll plan what was important for us for the new year we're getting into. We're doing that religiously every year, go to a restaurant and talk about it. If I'd bring out a piece of paper and a pen and write those things out. So she's absolutely spot on. Don't stumble into marriage. Just understand what the purpose there is for both of you as you get into that marriage. Thank you.
So I want to confirm, thank you, sweetheart. I want to confirm that he was indeed very organized, very, very articulated, and he knew what he wanted in life. Pillar number 2 is about positioning. And when I say positioning, I'm saying you need to position yourself as a leader at all times, a leader in your home, a leader in your family, a leader in your community, all right? Yes, again, head of the home. But it's not just that. What does it take to be a leader? You have to exhibit for a man gentleman traits, not so easy to find. And as a woman, elegant woman traits. And what am I saying about all of this? Honestly, apart from just your looks, your manners, as a leader, people need to look at you. And what's the first thing that they see? Do you look like a leader? Do you position yourself like a leader? When you're walking, do you show that you have leadership traits, elegant, gentlemanly traits? To be a gentleman is not about being rough and tumble. It's really about making sure that the way you appear, the way you behave, the way you communicate, your decorum, your finesse, everything speaks to A, B, C, D, E, F. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I see a leader, I'm looking at as a gentleman, as a woman. How do you sit? You're in a reception, or you're in a hallway, or you're in a meeting. Gentlemen, how do you sit? As a gentleman, you need to sit with you need to sit properly. You cross your feet, as you can see here. It's interesting that today, being the coronation in the royal family, that I have this picture up in the UK. They're having the royal coronation of the king today, right? And so we have the royal family right in front of us. So there you are. You see Prince William here. See how he's seated, even casually seated with his legs crossed. Okay. You see Kate here as well, sitting with trousers with her legs crossed, and towards the left-hand side, in the dress that she's wearing, she has been taught. She went to finishing school to know how to sit down with her 2 knees always joined together, regardless of what she's wearing, regardless of how short her outfit may be. She's been taught, and you can see Princess Diana, late Princess Diana, may she rest in peace. See how she has been taught how to cross her feet. This is very, very, very intentional. And then you can see Prince Harry as he's seated. Gentlemen, sitting with your legs open like that is not like being a gentleman in no way, shape, or form. It is very important. It's about how you walk. It's about how you sit. It's about how you stand and the perception that you leave behind for others. How do you behave in public places? How do you behave in social places? How do you behave in official places? You need to be more self-aware. Position yourself for leadership at all times. So what I'm saying is that, look, when you are walking with your wife, we know you're going to be the leader and you're walking together. Gentlemen, don't leave your wife behind 10 yards. Please let her be by your side, not behind you. So that's speaking to when you're walking, walk together. Don't forget about her because she's walking with you. There's a video that I wanted to show, but for time, about 2 presidents, President Obama getting down from a plane, and he's holding an umbrella because it is raining profusely. And there he is. He's not with his wife, but he's with 2 of his staff. And there he is using one umbrella to cover the 3 of them as a pure gentleman. Even though he's getting half wet, he's covering them and showing his gentlemanly side. And there we are. With all humility, I say this. The second video comes up, and it is a video of, I hope I can send it, of former President Donald Trump, all right? And he is running up into a plane with the umbrella because it is wet. Guess who he leaves behind? His 14-year-old son and his wife. They get soaking wet. Gentlemen, always remember when you are walking along with your spouse, let her be beside you. Don't forget about where she is. And there's so many other things we're going to talk about in a minute when we get into behavior. Sweetheart, do you want to say anything about
a very quick one? But you talked about especially the man as the head, providing leadership. And I think everything you've said, everything you've said is absolutely spot on. But the other angle to it is also that leadership will come from the fact that, as the head, all eyes are on you in the family. And so part of what responsibility you have to that home is ensuring that anything you do or they hear of you will be consistent with what you are trying to make of the rest of the family. Mm-hmm. So as the head of the family, you have that responsibility. You have to make sure, and another part of it again, and I'll let you go now, is actually making sure that you get the best out of every member of the family, because leadership is really about getting the best of everyone. So making everybody the best they can be. If a man can do that successfully in a home, you'll find automatically your wife will love you to bits, your kids will love you to bits, because they sort of have that figure in their life that they can look up to and who inspires them to be the best they can be. So everything she said is correct, but also from a leadership standpoint, I want the men listening to me to hear that you absolutely have a responsibility to share. They say, as goes the leader, so goes the home. So what you show in your home as a leader is what they shouldn't be disappointed by what you get. You should get what you put in, if that makes sense. So sorry about that. So please go ahead.
No, that's okay. So of course, when we say position yourself as a leader, that is the head of the home, and it cannot be wobbly and it cannot be shaky. Otherwise, every other thing falls apart. Now, I do not want to leave out our dear women here. Women, yes, you're always happy when your husband positions himself as a leader, but you must position yourself as an elegant woman too. Every man wants to go out. By his side is his wife that people can see is elegant, is well put together, is organized, and she really, really represents him. Because guess what? You're not just there for yourself in marriage, you're also representing your spouse. People say when you look good, he's looking after you, right? When he looks good, you're looking after him. So it's very important when you go out, even in public places, you can't afford to misbehave. You also, as a woman, need to position yourself as the woman of the home. That is, again, another leadership position. You are the woman of the home. You take care of the home. You know how they say, I am Minister of Home Affairs, right? So everything to do with your home, you must manage it. And it's not an easy thing because you are managing people. You are managing maybe domestic staff. You're managing your children. You're managing in-laws. It's really a job. So when people around you see that you're a woman of elegance, you're a woman of substance, you're a woman of her word, people will respect you. There are no two madams in a home. There's only one.
One of the things that women don't do enough of, and I don't want to be judgmental about this, but we should look at it from that perspective, is also that when they get married, and depending on how successful the husband is and how much of leadership is provided, when they get married, how much of further investment do they put into their growth? Because we've seen cases where the man is a lot more successful than the woman, and it's bad, but he forgets to pull the woman along. That's bad. But the second bad, and they say two wrongs don't make a right, is a woman who is comfortable seeing her husband grow maybe in his career or whatever he's doing in the community, and just sits down and says, after all, I'm married to a successful person. Every woman must absolutely invest in their growth. And that's part of how you help your husband achieve the leadership that you want in the family.
All right. And finally, I must say, when it comes to this position of leadership, it is true. Know each other to grow each other. So even though both of you must position yourself as leaders, meaning that he must carry you along with you. So many women go into marriages and they improve over the years because he has helped her. He has nurtured her. And likewise, she has helped him. She has nurtured him. You're knowing each other to grow each other so that you can have a better marriage. So the next P again is polish. Okay, pillar number 3 is indeed polish. It has everything to do with your mannerisms. Now, this is where etiquette savvy comes into play. It has a lot to do with interpersonal skills, your soft skills, and honestly, what is your behavior like in public? Do you spit anyhow? Do you sneeze anyhow when you're at the table and you don't even cover your nose? You know, do you blow your nose anyhow? Do you talk with your mouth full of food? Do you scratch where you're not supposed to be scratching? You know, how when you're sweating? I mean, what is going on? You know, when you look at all this, it's like, ouch. You know, when it comes to behavior, everybody is seeing this. Sweat patches, they're a no-no. They are an eyesore. And you need to manage that. We'll talk about that when we get to presentation and your looks, okay? You know, a lot of people pick their nose and think that nobody's watching them. Excuse me, it is a no-no at all. Even the whole idea of spitting, it is absolutely rude. And, you know, a lot of people will say maybe can also be tantamount to disgusting. Are you scratching here and there and everywhere? Why? Why are you blowing your nose? There's so many viruses that come from blowing your nose. More importantly, you know, the one of going to the washroom and not washing your hands. Now, you may think that these are cliche and, you know, we know what to do, but you'll be so surprised how adults, you know, are vulnerable and forget their manners, okay? But we're talking about manners in this and in another light as well, in marriage as well. Do you know that if you're walking along the road with your spouse should not be on the outer curb. You should be protecting her. Gentlemen, your wife, the wife to be, she should be on the inner side of you. You must always protect her. Simple little etiquette rules, all right? Even when you are sitting in a social gathering or in an official event, don't let your spouse sit on the outside. She should be on the inside, okay? When you go to an event and you have to stay the night or whatever, even in, I remember even in hotel rooms, spouses don't sleep near your spouse doesn't sleep near the door. You sleep near the door. You're always in that position of protection, right?
My wife is very, very passionate about that. It doesn't matter where we go. We always make sure that is done.
Even simple things like you're going out to dinner and you're ordering, always ask her first, sweetheart, what would you like first? Courtesy demands. And then you order your own. People are coming around asking for drinks. If they come to ask you, just ask your wife first, you know, what would you like to drink first? And then you know, your wife first, and then you second. In social gatherings, informal gatherings, it's so important how you behave in public. All right.
Let me just say a quick one. And by the way, for those that are not married that are listening to us, so it seems like this is all good for people in marriage already. But I can tell you that before you get married, if you are looking at getting married, I think, like she said, the camera is on you. People are watching you, even when you think they're not watching you. So when you meet your in-laws or whoever you meet that could have an input as to whether this person is a good person or not, it's just important that you imbibe these things. You don't need to have gotten married to know that some of these things are things. And so, in fact, it's so good that you already inculcate some of these habits such that by the time you get married, they just come out naturally, okay? And for me, I've learned an enormous lot of things from my wife on this. I've said this before. I don't know where I was saying it. Where even when we got married, I didn't even know how to take your loaf of bread with stew or whatever. I was so local in quotes. I would break the bread and dunk it in stew. And Dr. J would never want to have that. She went out. She bought sliced bread. I squeezed the sliced bread. I dunked it in soup anyway. That look. This woman, let me eat. But when I started learning to do that, I was in places in the UK with my some of my foreign partners who actually at one time asked me, did you not say you schooled in Nigeria? I said, yes, but why are you so polished like this? I said, why? The way you eat and all of that. But all that I learned from her. So this part of it, that polished thing, extremely important in marriage. And man or woman, once we are married, let's be humble enough to learn from each other. Whoever is better at this, doesn't matter. You are one means you are one. Learn from that person. When you go on the outside, you become a hero. Nobody knows whether you learn from your wife or you learn from your husband.
So mannerisms, thank you, sweetheart. Mannerisms are extremely important, especially in marriage when, for example, culture. So are you supposed to courtesy? Are you supposed to bow? Are you supposed to kneel down? So the cultural and religious things that you need to imbibe, especially if you do cross-cultural marriages, very important. And simple things in public, you don't pick your nose in public, you don't blow your nose where you're not supposed to. And these are little things that we expect you to know and imbibe. When it comes to etiquette, it's just a skill that you keep on learning. Pillar number 4 is about pitch, and this is about speaking and communication. How is communication with you? Visually, verbally, and virtually. Now, I'm saying in terms of visually, when people see you, are you loud and lousy? Or are you calm, gentle, introverted, or extroverted? Do you look like the boss? Do you actually look your age? All right. Do you look good? Do you look bad? Do you look okay? Do you look ugly? How? What is the perception you live in the minds of people when people see you in terms of your communication visually? And when it comes to verbal communication, are you like this or are you going to be like this? This technology age where everybody is so antisocial and everybody is on their phone, on their computer, on their gadget, oh my goodness, on the TV. Nobody's talking to anybody. And this is a big problem. And so it speaks to when they finally speak verbally, what are they saying? Your vocabulary. What are you saying in terms of vocabulary? Are you still saying, hey, come? No. Are you still saying, things like you get, like, as in, all those repetitive words? Is that in your vocabulary?
Like I know your name.
Like
gentle,
as in. And then the other things too, like what's up? How now? How now is even good. How now is like, how are you? But when they say, how was your night? I don't even understand the meaning of how was your night. But people say it so often, and it seems as if it is a norm, But listen, how was your night?
I see that. People say what's wrong with it, but
so how was your night?
Did you sleep well?
That's English.
That's what when I say that. That's what I mean by the way. Sorry, we're saying it. We didn't rehearse this, so forgive us.
It's interesting. So communication, however, is very key because it speaks to, how we get along to each other. And with communication, in marriage, it can be so miscommunicated. I may say something and to him, it means something else. And before you know it, it creates a rift. Be mindful of how you communicate. You must be clear, you must be concise, you must be very consistent in what you're saying. It's so easy for a couple to misunderstand each other, all right? And I must say, you want to be in a position where when you're communicating in a social environment, everybody's happy to be around you. You are the life of the party. People like to be around you. Communication is one area that you cannot let go. And imagine virtually now, you are, for one reason or the other, your relationship is across many miles or across the ocean. When you show up virtually, you must be very intentional. Can we see your face? Did you make an effort to look good just for that virtual meeting or get together? Can we even see you? Is it that your face is dark? Is it that we can only see half of your head? Is it that we can only see your head? We can't even see your face, And this is very important because we have gotten into the technology age. So whether you like it or not, even families now have virtual meetings and everybody's connecting virtually. Everything we do, birthday parties, funerals, everything is virtual. How do you show up virtually? Even in marriage, it's very important because it will even impact you, even in your professional life. Communication is important. Are you still saying, He has something to say about that.
No, I have, because when they say marriage is sweet, also, you have to think about it in the context of how you complement each other, and at the risk of emphasizing what I had said before, how you make each other the best you can be. When I started out, in the organizations where I worked, with all sense of humility and to the glory of God, I got a feedback, and I worked with a lot of multinational companies. I got a feedback that I was very strong at presentations. I presented well. But what people didn't know was that before I went out for most presentations, I spent time with my wife where I made her the critic, in quote. She would sit, I would present to her. And one of the things she noticed very early on in my career, my corporate world days, was the number, or should I say number of I used to say, was almost after every sentence I would say yeah, exactly. And she pointed out with the result that when I went out and presented, I was very conscious of that, and I was able to beat that bad habit. So presentation, preaching, and all of that, just lean on each other. When I made presentations on TV, she was watching from home, and I would come back home. At the door, she was telling me that was a 6 on 10. And that must have been a situation where people were clapping that I did well. And she was pointing out things that maybe people didn't see. So be very conscious. The bit about communication as you grow together in a marriage is absolutely important.
Yes, thank you, sweetheart. And again, in marriage, please learn to understand each other. It's easy to get into an argument. It's easy to keep malice. It's easy to get annoyed with each other, but learn from your mistake, pray about it, move on, and make sure that you're continuously growing together. Pillar number 5, all right, is presentation. We're almost wrapping up here. So in terms of presentation, it's all about your look. And I want to say your appearance. Image is everything. And you do get only one chance to create one good first impression. But I want to emphasize here, please always strive to leave a great lasting impression. And so therefore, the 5 A's, when you step out of your house, do you look authentic? You must be authentically you. Do you look aligned with your environment? Everybody is wearing, official clothes and you came in casual jeans. Wow. Do you look approachable? All right. Do you look authoritative? And of course, do you look attractive? One thing you must always wear, no matter what you put on in the morning, you must wear a smile. All right. That smile makes a big difference in your looks, in people wanting to come to say hello, in people wanting to get to know you, in people wanting to get to communicate with you. But it's important also to remember when it comes to your presentation, you learn from each other here. You must be color coordinated. You don't want to look color rioting. All right. And I'm saying, women, check your spouse or your husband to be before he goes out of the house. Check his tie, check his suit. Gentlemen, don't be afraid. Honey, how do I look? Do I look good? And she must be able in a position to straighten you up where where you have a bit of rough edges. And gentlemen, don't forget to compliment your wife. It's important. Sweetheart, you look so good today. You look really nice. And a lot of men will tell you, they will tell you that they always make sure that they want their wives to look really nice when they step out. But it's important also when you're buying clothes, make them fit, not too big, not too baggy, not too loose, not too tight, not too transparent. It's so important. Fit is important. You can't be wearing baggy things. Always make sure you understand your size and buy your size. And if indeed depends on where you're buying them, try them on first. Make sure they fit well. Especially gentlemen, you can't have your suits oversized. It doesn't look good in any way, shape, or form. And the question is, do you go for style or do you go for fashion? Fashion comes and goes. Style is eternal. What is your own style? Be authentically you. Know your style, all right? And be approachable. Again, a lot of people are not even sure of what to wear. Some people are so casual in what they wear. They're going to meet their in-laws, not even made an effort to wear something. A lot of people are not even sure what to wear to a dinner, to wear to a cocktail, to a meeting, to church, to a wedding. So you must be conscious of what to wear at the right time, at the right place, with the right people. And with clothing, honestly, I must say, it goes with grooming as well. Your body is a temple, but only if you treat it like one. So gentlemen, you must keep a good grooming schedule. Everybody must have, know how to look after yourself. And it's about having your bath. It's about taking care of your hair regularly, barb once every 2 weeks or once every week. Wash your hair on a regular basis, brush your teeth regularly. Your hands, your nails, everything is powerful about your hand. Have your signature smell, please. Body odor is a no-no. Yes, makeup, it's important because you don't want to come out of your house with your bedroom face. We're not saying overpower it, but we're saying enhance your look, not overpower it. But always, it depends on personal choice, all right? You must keep fit. It's important because it helps your look and your presentation, and eat the right foods all the time. So in terms of presentation, sweetheart, do you have something?
No, I can pass on that. But I think the important thing is to let people know that it doesn't have to come as expensive. Okay, it doesn't have to come as expensive. All this stuff she's talking about, it's about what you can afford, but even in what you can afford, look good and be conscious of how you present yourself. I guess that's the point.
Yeah, don't break the bank at all. Buy affordable things, but always look good. I love the mantra for me, simple, elegant, and chic. So it's not about the money you spend, but always look good. But I want to say, you can remember, I was the one helping you with your signature smell, and making sure that certain things look good on you, and those are the things that you continue to buy. Right. All right, as we wrap up very soon, pillar number 6 is 7 pillars, and your palette. Oh, wow. Your dining decorum. How do you eat? How do you fare at the dinner table? All right, this is one of my favorite areas, okay? It really speaks to your performance at the table. Do you put your napkin at your neck or do you put it on your laps? What happens? How are you able to manage and navigate the tools of the table, your cutlery, what's on your left and what's on your right? Okay, and this is it. Depending on what you're eating, are you eating native food, salads, meat? How do you use your knife and fork? What's on your left? It should always be your spoon, your fork, right? Your fork is always on your left. On your right is always your knife and your spoon, all right? You need to know what you should start off with and what you should end up with, okay? And indeed, how do you cut? How do you hold the knife and fork? So many people are holding their knife and fork like a pencil or like a dagger. It's one of those cases of old habits die hard, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Because once you get so used to a habit, it's difficult. Are you stabbing your food? Are you, pinching onto your knife and fork? You really need to know how to hold your knife and fork well with your index finger, cut with the fork, with a knife, hold it with the fork and place it in your mouth. Your bread plate is always on your left. Please don't go to a function and take somebody else's glass because your glasses are always on the right-hand side, okay? And when it comes to passing the salt, you always pass salt and pepper together. And when it comes to one thing more, when you go for a buffet, ladies and gentlemen, men and women alike, please do not pile, especially my darling women here, do not pile your plates up to the top. You know you can't finish all of that. And it's a buffet. You can go back as many times as you like. The food is not going to finish. Don't worry about it. They will replenish those.
It's okay, the food finishes.
But you see, it's really about you making sure that at all times, dining is like dancing. Do not rush the food. Learn to taste the food that you're eating and appreciate that food. And if people are coming over to your house for a meal, please know how to lay the table, know how to set the table, know what knife and fork to use and what plate to use. And I must say, my darling women here, go and invest in a beautiful china set and cutlery that you bring out when your in-laws are around for dinner.
That's not expensive, JT?
No. You don't use, you only bring it out, and learn how to navigate the tools of the table. All right, don't eat with your mouth full of food. Don't hold knife and fork in your hand while you're talking and shaking like that. Be very mindful. And finally, pillar number 7 is your palace. It is your home. Who wants to come home to a kitchen like this? My goodness, what is happening here? Some kitchens look like this. And it's a total mess. It is so important that you treat your home. So my sweetheart used to travel a lot officially, right? And I realized he was always in, 5-star hotels. And it dawned on me that if I don't make my home like a 5-star hotel, he will feel more comfortable in those hotels than home. So what am I trying to say here? Make your home comfortable enough for him to always want to come home and come home fast. All right. So what are we trying to say here? When it comes to your home or your palace, I must say, how does it look now? Now that you're single, how do you really want it to look? All right. And, again, you think about color coordinating. Women, the onus is on you to make the home look so nice, comfortable, pleasant. Always have pictures around the home once you get into marriage and your children. Make it look simple and chic. Color coordinate, no color rioting. Color coordinate, because maybe your place is so cluttered now. You don't want your home to be like that. Declutter that home, all right? So don't take, there's a lot of things. Some things amaze me. I've been into some homes where people make the dining room or the dining table look like it came off the cover of a magazine. That means as you walk into the house, the plates are set there. Nobody's eating. Nobody's going to have dinner, but the plates are already on the table there because they thought that it looks like so good in the magazine. No, please, it's even dangerous to have things like that around. When your guests come around, set the table. When they're not around, have nice, simple things on the table, a centerpiece and whatnot. Okay, what am I trying to say here? Your bed, your living room, make it homely with nice colors, simple, clean, nice pictures around, a flower here or there, which can be artificial, pictures here and there, and nice. And when people walk in, like, this is nice. And let it be smelling fresh with candles, with diffusers. Let your home feel fresh, okay? When it comes to your bedroom, let your bedroom feel very comfy. your living room, homely, your bedroom, comfy, all right, nice and comfortable. So when you come in, yes, why not have candles around? Let it smelling nice, diffusers, all right, some light music, dim the lights, not so bright, because they say when you want to sleep well, you need to dim those lights. Your home needs to feel so comfortable. Your kitchen cannot look like this. Your kitchen must be feisty, have a beautiful aroma, a nice smell like, honey, what are you cooking? That smells nice. All right. So sometimes you might even want to be in the kitchen with you cooking because that aroma is too good to eat. You know, that food smell is so good, you don't even want to eat it. And of course, the bathroom or the washroom, it has to be cozy. All right. You may have a small rug, you may have candles, you may have scents in that your washroom. So your palace is extremely important to be clean, to be tidy. They even tell you, if you want to know how clean or the decorum of somebody, go into their washroom or go into their car. You'll be surprised at what you may see.
Can I encourage some singles here? Because so when I was when we're dating, okay, so I had my own apartment because I was working already, and my sweetheart, then obviously my friend, was coming and obviously going back to stay with her parents. But she would just come and would just, come say hello to me. But there were times that I would leave her because I needed to go and do something. I was already working and she'll be in the house. But I cannot remember a single time I left her in my apartment then that I came back and made that apartment the same. And then she would lock the key and lock the door and put the key wherever. But I always got back to a fantastic, well-cleaned, house. It was so obvious to me that this was a woman for me, and I'm using this to encourage the singles, and especially the ladies here. There are many reasons that we pray to God to lead us. But when a man sees that, and so I got married at 27, when I saw that, I wasn't just going to let her go. I decided, as among other things, that, oh my goodness, thank you, God, for bringing this type of woman to my life. And she still does that till tomorrow. It's not that, oh, she's this, we're that. She will clean everywhere. I'll come back home almost every day. In fact, one of the reasons that we, should I say, quarrel a bit in quote, is that when I come back home and I'm tired, I'm removing my shoes and I'm throwing them somewhere, and she's immediately admonishing me in terms of, no, your shoes can't be there, they have to be here. So that whole thing about cleanliness is spiritual. It's nothing that we should take all the time and all the work to explain to Christians. I want to say that, to God's glory, she was like that when I met her 30-something years ago. She's like that today. So for singles, think about that. For the married, think about that.
Yes. So we thank God. We thank God for that. So we wrap up here. So we've just gone through the 7 pillars, okay? So etiquette is indeed a toolkit, is a guideline for the way of life. There is a no-no for lateness. There's a no-no for rudeness. There's a no-no for meanness. There's a no-no for lousiness. There's a no-no for tactlessness, all right? So it's about, making sure that you always, at this point, use magic words like please and thank you, all right? And excuse me, and as the case may be. You also want to smile at everyone, including strangers around you. You want to think before you speak, in your home, in your environment. You want to stay well-groomed. You want to be yourself no matter what. You want to never use foul language. Learn to apologize at all times. Be respectful at all times. Think of others first. Be kind and considerate, okay? And of course, the final one there speaks to maintain a good reputation and a godly character, be gracious and have an attitude of gratitude. It says all roads lead to leadership. You must lead by example. I love this quote that says, watch your thoughts because they become words. Watch your words because they become action. Watch your actions because they become habits. Watch your habits because they become character. And watch your character because that becomes your destiny. Understand the power of attitude. Find your purpose and your vision. Choose to take charge of your life, especially as you go into marriage. Refrain from all forms of bad habits. Be proactive. Discover how to motivate yourself. You can motivate your spouse. See change as an opportunity. Build a supportive relationship and leave a lasting legacy. And here I wrap up here. Position yourself, your home, your marriage, leadership. Set a good example for others to follow. God bless you all and good luck. Be authentic, be polite, and be genuine. All right. On that note, we're going to say, as Proverbs 18:22 says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, obtains favor from the Lord. I want to say thank you very much for watching and listening. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.